This video is sponsored by Metal Hellsinger. Welcome to Metal Hellsinger. In this game we play as the unknown who is trying to regain her stolen voice. And how do we get that voice back, you ask? Well, by fighting our way through hell, listening to one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a game, and of course ripping demons apart in a very timely manner. Now Metal Hellsinger is a style of game that I have never played before, a high chaos rhythm based first person shooter. The idea is simple, make your way through the levels listening to some pretty incredible heavy metal music made by some of the most phenomenal names in the business. I mean, look at the lineup. But the idea is that your attacks should fall on beat with the music. The more you attack and kill on beat, the more damage you do, the better your score is, and more importantly, the better the music becomes. And as I said before, the music in this game is by some top shelf heavy metal artists, not made by some random 10-thumb tone deaf talentless noise polluters. So when playing this game, I would suggest a neck brace for the headbanging you will no doubt go through whilst playing. And as of 4 days ago, Metal Hellsinger has actually brought out a brand new DLC, Dream of the Beast, which includes 3 new brilliant outfits, a brand new weapon, and 2 new songs from Christina Scabbia of Lacuna Coil and Will Ramos of Lorna Shore, and all of this is just $3.99. So make sure you head to the link in the description to check out this insane DLC. But with 28 achievements up for grabs, will Metal Hellsinger be a gig to remember, or will I be crying in the corner of the venue at the wasted potential? Well, I think it's about time that we head straight to it and find out for ourselves. Welcome to the achievement grind. The game starts with a tale of the unknown. The tale talks of a soul that came to hell. Nobody knew anything about her other than the fact that she had a score to settle. Her voice was also taken away, and all we need to know is that she wants it back. Now, to get our voice back, we must face the Red Judge, the ruler of hell. The judge tried to lock the unknown away with unbreakable magic, however, the narrator says that he helped break her out. With that, we are then thrown into the tutorial. Here we get a gist of the movement, the weapon play, and more importantly, how all of this links up with the music. Now, it did take me a little moment to get used to the beat timer, but once I realised that the music that plays really helps you understand when to strike, it didn't take me long at all to understand how to get the most out of our attacks. After a couple of minutes of practice, we then come across a skull buried in the snow. This is Paz, and he is also the voice that you can hear narrating the story. He says how himself and the unknown share a bond and become whole together as they share music and their voice, making them an ungodly friendship. But we can also shoot fire out of his face. Now, he doesn't do too much damage, but his job is to keep the fury building so that the score multiplier stays up and that the music stays wonderful, as the lower the score multiplier, the more dull the music gets. And by using him for the first time and getting a 10 hit streak, we also unlock our first achievement, This Pounding Heart. And seconds later, we unlock the next for getting to a 20 hit streak, unlocking, surprisingly, This Pounding Heart too. And yeah, I knew I was already hooked after this section, but that's the tutorial done. It's time to properly trek into hell and get our vocal cords returned. Moments into the first hell voc, we also learned that every weapon that you use has an ultimate ability that can either deal massive damage or group enemies together and such. And by using Paz's ultimate ability to freeze enemies in rock before exploding them, we unlock our next achievement, Kill Your Demons. And speaking of weapons, we actually find our first gun only seconds later, a shotgun called Persephone. And this thing is simply a beast. Not only is it fairly easy to make sure you hit your shots on beat with this gun, but it also packs one hell of a punch. And here I actually fully got into the zone. For the next couple of sections, I shot, I sliced, and I bent to the beat as best as I could, and I was so focused on maintaining that 16 time score bonus, as that's when you get to hear the filthy vocals that just made this head-bangingly splendid. Including when we were also introduced to a new type of enemy as well, the Behemoth, a towering hulk of sin. However, no match for my shotgun. We soon reached the end of the level though and was met with the Red Judge herself. She knew that one day we would come, so she erupts and tries to stop our revenge story. Again, with no messing around though, straight back into the action. Bit by bit we chisel the health down, having a blast of a time whilst doing it, if you'll pardon the pun. But we soon put an end to this aspect, and defeating it also unlocked us the achievement Breaking the Law. Now, every time you complete a hell, you unlock 3 torments to play. These are basically little challenges that will test you in some way, whether it be to see how many kills you can get with slaughters, or testing how efficient you are with every weapon. But by completing these torments, you can unlock boons which grant small bonuses in hells that can make your life a lot easier. So I decided that after every hell we complete, we would just do the 3 torments before moving on to the next. For the first we have to do, we are given Persephone, and we have to kill 40 demons whilst hitting on the beat. Honestly, these are really fun, and I know I haven't really played any clips yet, so here is a taste of what hitting on beat means. And honestly, this early in the game, it only gets better. This just kicks ass. But we eventually killed all 40 enemies, unlock the boon as well as our next 2 achievements. Heavy Metal is the Law and 3 of Pentacles for completing a torment and achieving the top result in one as well. But for the sake of not giving the entire game away, I'm going to get back to the story and more importantly, the delicious achievements. The next hell that we entered was Stygia. Now this is my favourite hell in the entire game. Not only does it have my personal favourite song in the game by Arch Enemy, because little known fact about me, female vocalists are without question my favourite, and all of my favourite bands have female fronts, so this was already right up my street. But also Metal Hellsinger, if you ever want to do a song with Spirit Box, I think I would lose my mind. But not only that, we also unlock my favourite weapons here as well, the Hounds. Now the hell starts with a story saying that somebody told the judge that they would destroy Paz and grind the skull to dust. They didn't, so the red judge quickly kills them and the level begins. And after we have a moment to appreciate the music, we pick up the Hounds. 2 revolvers that are easily to me the most satisfying weapons in the game to shoot. Come on! This is sick! And we also unlock the next 2 achievements at the same time by going through the level. For reaching a hit streak of 35 and for killing 25 enemies whilst maintaining a hit streak, we unlock the achievements Pounding Heart 3 and the Empress. Once again we meet the judge, only this time she has evolved a little bit and now can use fire attacks. However, with the groove that I was going through and the strength of my new favourite weapons, we soon took care of her once again. Her aspect defeated, and we unlock the next achievement if I can make it here. And as I said before, I'm not really going to mention much of the torments here as well, as there isn't really anything that I can say about them. However, we unlock our next 3 achievements whilst I was tearing apart demons. For killing 8 enemies within 4 seconds by blowing this explosive up, we unlock Fairy Woman. For killing 50 behemoths, we also unlock the achievement Queen of the Underworld. And lastly, for killing 666 demons, we unlock the very Thunderstruck achievement Highway to Hell. Get it? Because Thunderstruck, because, you know, AC, never mind. Now, something else that is happening with Metal Hellsinger is a new update that allows you to select songs so you can go through any hell you like listening to your favourite tracks out of the selection, which is fantastic as now it allows me to go through the entire game if I choose, listening to the Arch Enemy song that I have constantly had on repeat since playing this. And also worth noting is that with this free update they will also be resetting the leaderboards, so make sure you play well if you want that tasty top spot. But for now we must move away from my favourite song and sample the next in Yelm. The judge was starting to panic, so she appointed some more enemies to study me and to try to find my weakness. However, the only thing that they found out is that the unknown is something called a Hellsinger. So now the judge is even more hell-bent on getting us dead. We enter the next level and you lovely folks know what to expect by now. We've got another amazing track by Tatiana from Ginger, but strapped with my new favourite friends we started the level. And again, the music was amazing and honestly complements the game so much, as when you really get involved and focused, you're not even thinking about the rhythm aspects because you're just clicking to the beat of the music and it is all totally natural. I don't think I've ever really mentioned soundtracks in any of the games that I've covered before in the achievement grinds, whereas here it's hard to talk about anything else because it complements the game so well. The soundtrack is phenomenal and I am absolutely blown away that it didn't win Game of the Year for that. Now, in this hell, we also get rewarded with a new weapon, a heavy explosive crossbow. Now, admittedly, I didn't use this anywhere near as much as I should have done, as I was still very much obsessed with the hounds, but this hit hard, and I mean hard. Again, we killed our way through rooms and rooms of enemies until we were ready to face this aspect. Now, this one again evolved further, and this one was definitely a bit more of a challenge than the previous, as the judge would summon defensive bricks quite often, as well as a lot of enemies. So this one definitely took some thinking and planning to stay ahead. However, we did just that and eventually put her down like the rest of them, unlocking yet another achievement, Smoke on the Water. However, after this level and completing the torments that came with it, I actually wanted to get our first miscellaneous achievement out of the way, as there is an achievement for getting through an entire level of hell only using Paz. It is simple in premise, but since he isn't really there for the damage, it would definitely take a little bit of a grind. So we loaded up the first hell and again went through it with Paz only. And with Paz in hand, we slowly shot our way through rooms and rooms of demons that didn't have a single clue on who they were dealing with. And actually on the journey for this achievement, we picked up the next and final one for hit streaks. By getting to 50, we unlocked the achievement This Pounding Heart 4. As since it didn't really do too much damage and was really easy to hit on beat, getting to a 50 hit streak with Paz was actually really easy. However, we soon meet the boss again, send her to the afterlife and unlock the achievement Pacifist. With that out of the way, now it's time to carry on with the story. The next level was Incaustus, and like the levels that came before it, there was a new weapon in here as well, so we booted it up. Now, the Red Judge was still bringing new forces to take us out, as we now now have her full attention. Now I'm not going to go through every single thing that happens here as the levels do play out fairly the same, but we started the level and with our trusted hounds we started to make our way through fairly well, and after the first room done with, we entered and picked up our final weapons of the game, the Hell Crows. These like bat boomerang weapons that could pack a real punch and deal damage on the throw and when they return to you. We also unlocked an achievement here for obtaining all of the weapons called Material Girl. And like before, we expertly smash our way through the level until it's time for the boss again. This time the Red Judge summoned an angry totem in the middle of the map to burn whilst we fight, and it did make things trickier as sometimes panic dashing would result in a face of red hot fire. But like the bosses that came before, we eventually got the better of her, put the judge in the ground once again and unlocked the achievement Rise, Rebel, Resist. Now in this torment for this level as well, I did mess up, but it was for a good cause apparently, as by accidentally shooting a red cell explosive and dying from it, we unlocked Piece of My Heart, which definitely softened the blow of me blowing myself up quite a bit, and I don't want to talk about it. Now with no more weapons to unlock, we could just focus on the story and the fight at hand. We loaded into the next level and here the judge is now very desperate, so she calls upon the heavens to send down some angels in the fight against me. Cute. Now these angels could indeed be quite lethal if I wasn't paying attention, however they seemed very weak to the hounds, and since they were the gun I was more or less using exclusively, we didn't struggle with them, and not before long we made it to the final boss of this level too. Now this one was a fun boss fight. The setting was really good and the floor disappeared throughout the entire match in the middle, along with the music. Oh lord, I was just in my element. But you know how I feel about the Red Judge, and even though I had some pretty impressive moves, we shot the feck out of her and once again defeated her, unlocking Dead and Buried. Only 3 more levels to go now. Loading into the next, we got a touch more story. Now Paz has started to get his memories back as hell slowly makes you forget everything. It shows us a flashback of the judge taking our voice, but something wasn't right. And even though the prophecy was against the Red Judge, she wasn't worried. Oh, how she should be. In this level we continue to jam as we make our way through the confrontation with the Red Judge. Now this is my second favourite song in the game. I don't know why, but my lord, it just scratched that itch hard and I was very, very in the moment. This one, yeah, I like this one a lot. Oh, this has no right being as good as it is. Honestly. This song's fantastic. Hell yeah. Let's go, man. But we made it to the Red Judge, and yet again this fight mixed it up a little bit more in a way that I really enjoyed. It turns out thanks to a curse spell that the judge made, there are now plural Red Judges, but only one of them can take damage. Definitely mixes things up again, but even with double the amount of pain to avoid, we found the real one and rattled her close to death. And here is where I went for my next achievement as well, simply to kill one of the aspects with a finishing sword blow. So when she had a sliver of health left, I charged at her and unleashed a barrage of slices, killing her and unlocking the sword is sharper, and also unlocking Ain't No Mountain high enough for beating her. And now we're really getting there, folks. The next level started with Paz getting stolen from us by the judge. Now Paz gives you a little bit of a backstory about themselves here. They actually used to be an angel. He was the right hand of an entity called the All, one of the most powerful beings. But being a singer himself, he was bored and hated singing, except for one song, The Unknowns. So he purposefully got himself cast out of heaven and waited an eternity for the unknown to show up, waiting so long that he deteriorated into a skull. Now this was again hilariously fun, as there is nothing better than killing demons to the sound of Randy from Lamb of God. But we also get our next achievement here for chaining a dash and a jump 100 times, unlocking Soaring in the Deep. But the rest of the level is nothing that I haven't already explained, so let's just cut straight to the boss fight. Now it turns out that the judge is actually quite a fan of the achievement grind, as this boss fight happens on 3 cogs, and I respect her as a fan. However, we still need to put her down and take Paz back. Now this one was a really tough fight, to be honest. There was a ton of extra enemies gunning me down and the Red Judge's attacks hit hard and often, but again nothing that we couldn't handle. And even though she got the better of me once, we resurrected ourselves and like many times before, absolutely destroyed her, killing her and unlocking the achievement For Whom the Bell Tolls. And now it's time for us to take care of the last 3 torments in the game. Now admittedly they were easily the hardest and most of them required at least 2 or 3 attempts before I slowly started to beat them, but beat them we did. And when we did the 3rd torment of the level and the final one altogether, together, we unlocked our next achievement, No Rest for the Wicked. Now it's time for the final level and then to clean up a couple of spare achievements left. Now the final boss fight was indeed a spectacle. This is the end and winner takes all. So the Red Judge pulls out all of the stops, and now instead of fighting as a skull, we are fighting all of them. Also to Sage from System of a Down, which is of course the final boss fight song. Perfect. Now the final Red Judge was a maniac. I mean, just look how this entire fight started. And I'm nailed.
Unknown heard some music now. There was still more to do.
So not happy with that, we resurrected, and not wanting that to happen again, we got to work and slowly started to chip her stupid health away. Now there are several phases to this boss fight and each was incredibly fun. First we had to destroy a stomach orb, we then had to climb a building and take care of more that had spawned. Now her sword attack did do some meaty damage, so dodging that was crucial, but we started to get there, even if we did have a couple of close calls. Gives you sword. Please, no, Pappy! Once the sword was damaged, it was time to go for the eyeballs, as well as fight 3 aspects of her at the same time. Intense, but manageable. We destroyed the aspects and one eye, and in a last-ditch effort to kill us, she got up close and personal. But unfortunately, that just made it so much easier for me to take her other eye as well, and finally end the story of the Red Judge. We do just that, she dissolves, flies up, falls back down, and that's the end of her. We then unlock the achievement When She Falleth, but it turns out that the Red Judge was only part of our voice, and heaven has the rest. So to get our voice back, we need to travel there and to kill, slash, and headbang everything to get our voice. However, the Red Judge has used us like a pawn. She knew after being cast out of heaven that she needed to plot her revenge, so she took the Unknown's voice, knowing that once we killed the Red Judge, that we would then have to go to heaven and kill them for the rest of it. It always was her plan, and we fell for it. She tells us when we go to heaven to give them hell. But that's the story of Metal Hellsinger, and I am very happy that they seem to be setting up a sequel here. But for now, we only have a couple of achievements left. The first is simple. We just need to kill 2 angels with the same attack. Now, there was a torment that spawned 3 of them at the same time, so my idea is that we go there, damage them all, and then use Paz's ultimate ability to shatter them and get the achievement. Luckily, it worked like a charm, and on my 3rd attempt, we did indeed shatter the angels and unlock the achievement Raining Blood. The next was even more simple. It was just to die 20 times. So we loaded into a torment and speed ran to our death multiple times. It didn't take very long, and eventually, death after death, we did unlock the achievement Who Wants to Live Forever. And just like that, we are on the final one. Now, this would definitely be the hardest achievement of the bunch. We had to go through an entire hell without missing a single beat. Now, there is a way to cheese this technically by changing one of the settings in the options menu, but I wanted to try and get it as authentic as I could. But I did have a plan. My idea was that if I equip the Hound's Gun along with a boon that increases my ultimate charge by 1% on every beat, and another that makes me deal more damage when I'm on low health, then the idea is that I can just wait for my ultimate to charge, dash it out, let it kill everything, and not risk missing a shot myself. Now, it was a slow journey as we had to wait for my ultimate to recharge constantly. However, I was hopeful. We loaded up the first level, and after a couple of failed attempts, we made it all the way to the final boss. And I was so nervous that I might have accidentally dashed off beat and not realised, or not reloaded right or something like that. But we slowly used our clone to chip away at its health, and the last time that I summoned it, it did some massive damage. And luckily, after about 5 or 6 tries, we killed the boss and unlocked the final achievement, Not Shaken, Not Stirred. And with that, we have finally unlocked every achievement in the game, and this high octane experience as well as the grind is over. Now, Metal Hellsinger was honestly such a surprise to me. I remember seeing the trailer announced and thinking, that looks pretty cool, but having now played it, I honestly didn't want to stop, as it is the most involved I have ever been whilst playing a game. I was so focused on everything, and I ain't been that way about a game in a long time. I didn't even want to look away from the screen. And I have to mention the soundtrack again, because this game's soundtrack absolutely makes it. I have no idea how they managed to integrate it as good as they did, but as a heavy metal enjoyer, this was perfection and makes the game just 1,000 times more enjoyable. Now, I do have 2 little complaints though. Nothing major, but I do wish that the game was longer. Because I was so focused and enthralled with it, I could have easily played this game for hours upon hours more and not minded at all. So I really wish it was just a couple of hours longer. And even though I adored the concept of the design of the enemies, I think a bit of variation to them depending on world that you was in would have been great as well, as some of the locations in the game were incredible and varied, so it would have been nice to have seen some alteration to the enemies ties like that as well. If you're in the snow level, make them have snow attire. I don't know, but just something like that. I know they're pretty small points, but I still needed to make them. But on the whole, I adored this game and I am eagerly awaiting to see what happens more from this team. And of course we have the brand new DLC that has just come out giving us exactly that. More songs, new outfits, a new weapon, and the free update on the song selection and the leaderboard resets. So I'm going to be going through this again very soon. I hope to see you doing the same, so click the link in the description below to find out more about Dream of the Beast for just $3.99. But let's get to the stats. For Metal Hellsinger, it took me nearly 8 hours to grind all 28 achievements that this game has to offer. I'm going to be giving this game a very well-deserved 8 out of 10 as for the gameplay, design, and especially the soundtrack were absolutely all top-notch. But as I said, I would have liked to have seen the game a touch longer, and maybe some more game modes like a boss rush or something like that. And also, again, if you're listening devs, please get Courtney from Spirit Box on a future song. The money that I would pay for that, you have no idea. I trust and I leave it to you. For the difficulty of the achievements though, I'm only going to be giving this game a 2.5. Now, for the most part, you'll just have to unlock them by completing the Hells and Torments, but there are actually a couple of achievements that you'll have to go out of your way for, and they are a slight challenge to do. So I am going to be pushing this up a little bit because of that. With the hardest achievement, of course, as well, being Not Shaken, Not Stared. And that's Metal Hellsinger. I really cannot thank Funcom and Metal Hellsinger for sponsoring me and for introducing me to this incredible game. I cannot wait to see what comes next. But next week, make sure you subscribe and come back, because instead of being a badass Hellsinger fighting through hell, we're going to be a military man with an injured best friend going through hell. Next Sunday, make sure you come back as we build bases, fight horrible monsters through tight cave systems, and most importantly, grind achievements in the new Sons of the Forest. Now, as a massive fan of the first, how would I feel the sequel fares? And also, don't forget to swing by my Twitch as well. I am currently live right now, so come say hello, as of course I will be doing some more achievement grinding, and it would be lovely to have you there. But that's enough from me today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all next Sunday. Take care. Bye bye for now.